Okay, it's been a bit of a while, but let's get coloring. Let's try coloring this guy and see what happens. Now, there are many ways to go about coloring, and I'll show you one way that I personally enjoy. Now, color is a very complicated thing. You know, we can study it for years, and even then, I'm still learning quite a bit. But I find, for me, what works best is just gathering references and converting those into a palette. It's almost like I'm preparing a palette for painting, and I'll just confine it to those colors. It makes it a lot easier for me to stay focused. And if the colors are already set, then I won't have any too much confusion. So I had a previous video in terms of like how I went about creating color palettes. I'm just going to drag Photoshop on the side here, and I love the color palettes of the Triplets of Belleville. It's a wonderful film. I love the style. It's wonderful. I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Okay, so in the previous video I went about like you are able to get like a color spectrum of a circle and then create a palette and convert it using color spectrum. Or there's a new handy tool here called Palinator that if you click on this little image thing, you can generate an index palette from this. So if I click on this, it'll just ask me to enter whatever. So let's hit OK, and it's going to grab this stuff, and a new pop-up is going to happen saying how many colors you want. We can say 40. I'm just going to, let's see, let me say 64 colors for now. We can go even less, but we want some variation. So let's hit OK. And it's going to use a color spectrum and generate a palette right here. Go back like this. Now I use Clip Studio, which I don't think it has index color, so you'll need to find some way to be able to generate this thing. If you wanted to bring it over too, we can like take a snapshot of this and paste it over. I've kind of gotten used to doing a color spectrum of this, so since this is already generated, that means it's loaded already into our index palette. So all we have to do here is just go into mode, adjustment, mode index color, and then I'll say flatten layers. We'll hit OK, and we're just going to use the previous palette, which was this, and it's already generated. So I'm just going to use this as a means to color our little fella here. So once that's done, let me just roll over to the side here. Okay, so we don't need the underlayer here, and let's just paste the palette in. And here is our palette. Now the reason why I like using this technique more than, let's say, pasting a image in like this is, I think I talked about it a little bit, is like this kind of already informs what the color should be assigned to. So let's say if I'm looking at a shirt, I'm like, oh, I want a shirt color. I'll like, click on the person's wearing a shirt. Or let's say I want a green, I'll like look for something. It's already too distracting for me. So if I create a palette like the one below here, then I can play around a little bit more. At least here I can see this is based on the lightness, and I can adjust accordingly. So that's one of the reasons why. But however, if you want to learn the style of, let's say, Triplets of Belleville, then yeah, I definitely recommend color picking. It's not cheating, color picking. I feel like it's a tool to learn. It's a tool to study, because then once you understand how they are choosing the colors to interact, then you can start adopting it and evolving it into your own thing. Definitely think that way. I've learned so much, like using multiple types of tools to help me get better. Like I even definitely recommend tracing, and not as a means to showing that it's your own work, but like on your own time, just like trace some shapes here and there, and you'll understand how those shapes interact. I haven't done that in a while, but I learned a lot when I did do it. Okay, so how do I go about coloring? Well, yeah, sometimes it's just very intuitive, or I don't have like this mode in my head in terms of like what color should be assigned. But this is definitely when you as an artist, your experiences or the way you see the world or your own style come in. Because I like bold colors being assigned everywhere. I also like really odd looking colors. It's like an attraction to it for me. Just something different. I'm just going to fill in some holes here, just in case. We all know the artist's plight. That's kind of interesting. Let's just copy that shape over here. And let's copy that. And I think that will be it. Just make sure. Like that, like that, like that. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So let's get to it. With the line work. It's right there. Okay, let's put this underneath, and I generally just use the fill tool. So, one thing to do too before I begin is I kind of want to create a silhouette that I can. Oops, why is that not working? Everything seems to be good. Okay. Control Shift I, and let's go underneath here, fill this in, and so like the silhouette's filled in, and let's just fill this up to like this, and we hit OK, and let us create a new image or a new fill tool. Oops, my cat is staring right in front of the Cintiq. Come on, bibi. Oh, come on. Nope. She wants to have cuddle time. Bibi. Okay. Where was I? Think. There we go. Okay. So now let's just start coloring. So like I said, I like using this, and sometimes I'll just start throwing color ever. I might be thinking in terms of like hue distribution as well as value distribution, because there might be a problem. What I mean by hue distribution is like, value distribution is sometimes you might just get like the same, like it'll look all the same, if like this gray here. So I want like contrast in certain places. So like I'm thinking about the colors here, that might be kind of cool if they were contrasting a bit like that. And maybe I want the distribution of the green to be around his jacket, so I might add it to his pockets. We'll just add a little bit of that. Similarly all across here as well. I'm just going to do that there. Now, I don't know about his shoulder pads here, or his, I don't know what those are called actually. But let's continue on. What else can we do? Green, I feel like yes, this would probably work. So I'm like trying to like create a distribution like this to go all around. Let's think about his jacket now. Let's say maybe I'm feeling this color, maybe a little bit brighter. I know this is probably going into the design of this guy, and it's like, why would he have a bright jacket? Maybe it might be some sort of maintenance crew. Maybe they work in a dark area, but there's like a lot of traffic. That might do that. I also like just the like contrast of it, and like this is being filled in here, but maybe the trims here could be a bit brighter, like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. And this is again like a gut feeling of how to fill in the colors just based on these colors here. And now in terms of his actual scales or his flesh or the surface area, I was thinking this, but how would this look? Because he's already pretty yellow in terms of, or orange. So would this provide an interesting look? That's kind of neat. Let's add that. I kind of like that. And then as a contrast, we can have this color. Kind of feels a little tropical. It's also the brightest part, so this is something you'd recognize on the character. I feel like his eyes could be this color. The reason I chose that is because it's kind of like matching his eyes there, but I kind of wanted to punch up the value a little bit more, so this is when I can like start straying off of our predefined palette, but still using what we have. Cool. Okay, now his second tone here. What can we use? Should we use like an actual color like this? And it's kind of like an analogous color scheme, or like a split complementary. That's when your color theory, if you studied it, comes into play, where we have two colors on the color wheel. Oh, actually, can I show it here? Square. Well, okay. Oh yeah, right here. So we have his two, or its two colors is here, orange and yellow, orange and a bit like a yellowy brown or a beige. So it's right here, and across it is the complementary. So the cooler colors, which would be this. So it has a really nice look to it, and of course we have some nice like saturation differences as well. We have a little bit of different contrast. We could go a little bit darker somewhere, I feel like. Well, but this would be nice here. And we have like, yeah, the eyes are providing a nice contrast. It feels good, at least to my eyes. So I'm going to keep going with that. And how does that look? Interesting. Yeah, very tropical feeling person. Alien. How's that? Darken that. It's kind of neat, kind of neat. I like that. We can bring this language of the trim and extend it here. That kind of looks interesting. Maybe over here as well, just to make sure it like pops out and we have a nice distribution like that. And what about these colors here? Well, maybe we can have a bit of these. And the reason why I'm choosing the green a little bit lighter is because I don't want it to bleed in between the two this way. Oops. And that's kind of neat. I've kind of filled this in here, but that's fine. How about the buttons here? I kind of like the yellow theme we have going on. It could almost be even brighter or more saturated, I feel like. That looks really good. I like that. So again, we're creating more of an analogous scheme, color scheme here. Let's split complementary, right where these are. I used to call it like a split analogous color scheme, but I think split complementary is the proper term. Although I think they're just pretty much the same. Okay, so we have this. We're pretty much close to getting this fella done. What about the pants? Well, I mean, I feel like we need to add something around this bottom here. This would probably be too bright. Yeah. How about the next step here? This actually kind of works. Let's add that. We probably make that a bit darker. And that's where the trims are. Or we can make it a bit lighter, actually. Yeah, let's do that. That feels good. Again, a little distribution all around. Trying to keep it even. And that's just something you develop over time as an artist. You'll have like an intuitive feel if you keep at it. Or keep looking at art that inspires you, or colors that really speak to you. Then you'll become that piece here. Like, what's this piece trying to say? So we also have like room for fingernails to be a different color here. Maybe I can steal from that and see what that looks like. So we have some harmonious feel with this. I like that. Now we're getting to shoes. What shoes? We'll have the white selected, so we can choose that to go here. Oh, I actually really like that color. It's almost like a post-it note. And we have like a nice cool here, so maybe the shoes can be either neutral or they can be warm again, but not too overpowering, because I feel like his shoes aren't his character. So we could probably make it a bit more dull in that sense. Try to hide it a little bit more. Like the like standard issue for whatever this uniform is, or maybe he just likes these kicks he's been wearing are a little bit older. Okay, now we can start like darkening a few things here, and then lighten this. And I think we're pretty much done in terms of coloring the flats. There are still some like little holes here and there, but I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just like looking at the overall piece. And this thing still needs to be colored in. Okay, so let's take a step back and see what we have here. Let me hide the color wheel now, which is, where are you? No? There we go. There we go. And let's erase that. Oh, that's not where it is. There we go. This, and we don't need these funny shoes. So at this stage, what I end up doing too now is I'll open up my hue shifter. This is where I start like seeing if there are any other alternatives that really speak out to me, or I can kind of see where there's a lot of distribution of a similar color. So it looks like it's really orange everywhere here. Oh, actually, this is really kind of speaking to me, these colors. That's really cool. I like that. I really like that. Okay, cool. So once I've seen something that is starting to speak to me, I can duplicate these layers, and then I can use the color picker, and I will, I like the yellow jacket a lot, so we'll just select all the orange of the type, and then we will hue shift that. What was that jacket? I really like that. Yeah, this color really, really stands out to me. Yeah, that's a good choice. And then let's see what else we can end up with their skin color here. Let's see if there's anything that kind of speaks. That yellow's kind of nice. Dull it out too much. Kind of neat, and I would like to change this to maybe something cooler or warmer. Duller. Fantastic, and I think this centerpiece here can be like completely gray. Maybe a little bit. That's kind of speaking. Like that. Okay, and now let's try hue shifting everything again and see how that will. Oh, that's kind of nice too. Yeah, this is actually really nice too. Let's see what we can do with its eyes here. I feel like we can make it really pop somehow. Ooh. Ooh. I'm feeling that. Okay. Okay. I think we're getting somewhere. Yes, my coloring process is just very experimental. It's just like clicking everywhere. I'm like, okay, I can hue shift this. How does this look like? How does it read? Hue shift some more. Since I really didn't have anything in mind, I had something to start off with, which I talked about previously, where I want some sort of noise, and then afterwards I start reacting to it, and you can change it, because I mean, it's art. You can do anything you want, and more so now with the digital medium, you have room to experiment. And I think it's a blessing, actually. I mean, it can be a little bit of a curse if you're stuck on this infinite loop of iterating all the time, and eventually you just have to call it quits with something. But it's gonna be a smooth ride there. This is, oh man, like the eyes and this, it's really speaking to me. I think we've nearly got it. I feel like this can be a little. I can change this a little bit more. Oh yes. Think we're about to get it. Can we do this? Distribution's really nice, really nice. I do want to not have this the same color though, because it feels like it's getting a little too distracting. The reason for that, why I'm saying distracting, is like you'll look at his eyes or their eyes and you start down and then you look back up, and that's not really what I want the flow to be. So I can like just desaturate this a bit. Okay, I'm actually happy with that. Like, we can see the differences here. Okay, so now the fun bit. Now this is kind of a fun thing where I usually just do really quick shadows and I reuse what I have on top. And what do I mean by that is, before, what I end up doing is like I'll go in and like color the shapes of my shadows, and then I'll either set out a multiply, but I started trying just to cut out the shapes of the colors that I have already filled in, because I already have them here. I don't know, I might as well just reuse them constantly, and I feel like it has more of a punch to it in terms of look. So I'll just show you quickly here. So we'll go in and we'll think of like a shadow direction quickly. I'm just gonna say maybe down, top down, or imagination land color. So we'll do that. Excuse the noise. Okay, we'll do this, and we'll just completely color this way. Color the pockets here. Color this. This casting a shadow here. And the reason why I'm using a red is just because it's easier to see on top of all of this. I just so happen to choose a red. It's completely random what color I choose, and you can choose any color you want too. And let's see. Let's say maybe the eyes are like in shadow here. A little bit of that. That's casting that. Let's color this. Color that. This will be in shadow, like this, like this. Everything is good. Definitely spend more time on yours, or with your art. Or, you know, it just really depends what you're after. I like doing a lot of fast sketches. I actually haven't done any complete full rendered paintings because it's something I find that it doesn't interest me too much. And that's something I think we have to kind of think about in terms of our artistic growth, is what interests you and what do you like? There's so many things to do out there, and it's always nice to try and find that unique voice. Now this is purely speaking of the artistic journey. It's not talking about like, oh, how do I get a job in the industry, or how do I, you know, make money out of my work. This is like very fine arty artistic growth. You as an artist, what do you enjoy? And what do you like drawing for yourself? And it's, for me, I found out I just like doing really fun characters and crazy shapes. And I like doing it really fast and gritty and just kind of dirty looking. Like this is, and I can get nicer shapes this way, but I just want to communicate the idea of the character. Because what I end up doing, since I also know how to do a little bit of music, and I love using Blender in terms of animation, I'll try and like understand the full facet of the character, maybe what they sound like, maybe the world they inhabit, and that takes a lot of energy sometimes for me, and I'd like to save that kind of energy for those things, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's a fully fleshed out thing at that point, where you can kind of understand who this character is, as opposed to getting a nice rendered painting, which, I mean, that's my goal. If your goal is to get like a beautiful rendered painting and understand the medium that you're using, oh, by all means do that. I'm jealous of people who can do that. I always get kind of tired if I try to keep rendering constantly. That's why I find 3D so nice, because I feel like once everything's solved, and if you're just rendering, I get bored, because I'm always actively seeking problems to fix. And if something's already established, I'll find ways to automate that process, because I'm like, well, this is solvable. This is already done. I need problems, or I need to seek for solutions. And I think that's why I got into, well, let's say, Blender, because it's really fun, technical, and I don't really have a complete technical know-how of a lot of things. Oh, Blender too much, because I'm still pretty much a creative where I love to draw. I do a little bit of coding, but
haven't devoted a lot of time to it, mainly because I get distracted. Okay, so we have all these colors, and what I talk about normally is I used to like, where is the setting here? Like clip it like this, and you can go to multiply, and then you can like hue shift this, and then have your colors like that. And this in itself is completely fine. I don't see any reason to do that. But what I started doing now is like, what if you just use this as a selection rather than actually the shadow pass, and then just copy and duplicate your color pass so it looks like this. Just to show you, like I've literally just colored the color, so all the white bits is not excluded. And oops. And now I'll use that as a multiply instead. And I feel like it adds a little bit more life, because you can see like it's using the same color underneath, and it takes into account, like, I don't know, it's sort of like it takes into account like the hue color shifts in between here. Of course, like this is for me at my own aesthetic taste. This is too dark still, so I could go in and just bump up the luminosity, and you can also kind of like hue shift things around. You can make this a bit desaturated or make it a bit brighter too. So let's see what we can end up doing with this when we hue shift it around, because there's some like really nice cool moments here where we know this is a bit yellow and the shadow's a bit green. It's really cool to see. And there's usually something that like clicks, and that's what I'm trying to find. Let's see, what is going to click for me? This zone is starting to click. And what I mean by that, it's like a gut feeling. And I'm sure if you've made it this far, there's probably some other iteration that you've seen, like, yeah, that one, and a complete bypass that. But that's because we have different aesthetics. And you can definitely take that into your own work. I think this one's starting to talk to me. It's kind of hard because the background's white, so we can change that to a different color. And let us see. Oh, there we go. I had that on multiply. Why did I have that on multiply? Okay. Let's go back here and see if there's anything else we can find. So let's keep hue shifting this. Oh, are we finding something? Oh, the blues are kind of nice. The jacket's kind of like acting a little too weird though for me. Ooh, okay. Yes. See, that's clicking for me right there. I might want to lower the saturation a little bit. Look at that. That's super cool. Cool. Okay, another thing I like to do as well is I'll just copy the actual color layer and go to my line layer, paste that on top, clip it on my line layer so that my lines look like this, and then I'll click on my line layer and I'll switch this to multiply. Whoops, that's not my line layer. Or is it? Did I actually do something? Oh, I think I know what happened. Okay, paste that, clip it. There we go. There we go. So now my line layer looks like this. And now, if I multiply it, darken this slightly, and we just have like a little bit of variation of the lines. Kind of like fills it, makes it pop a bit more. And that's pretty much it when it comes to coloring pieces like this, or like how I like the color. I mean, we can definitely keep going on and on, but usually this is how I like to color my sketches. Yeah, that's about it. Well, hopefully you learned some tricks here. Thank you.